So as you look at this, this is the homework answers that we were looking at. And as you look at it, questions as you were looking here. What's that?
You're supposed to skip some, right?
Yeah, you skip 2, 4, and 7. So 2, 4, 7 is what you skipped. So 2, if you did them, 4, and 7. So the key thing is that we are looking for each time is, are they similar or are they congruent, as you were looking at. So in number 8, you should have had that they were congruent, whereas in number 9, you had a size change, so they are similar. So you're looking at the original, you did the size change. We talked about listing those points kind of to the side as you were looking at those. So you might start with your A, B, C, D, then you might list A prime, B prime, C prime, reflecting it. You cannot use your note card today on the quiz, okay? So questions on 10 at all? All right. I would like you to turn to your notes, and I believe Mr. Lehman had said that we were turning in through 10. So if you have 10 done in a little bit, before we take your quiz, there are a few scissors up here. Then you can cut that out and turn it in. If you didn't finish it, you will have, you will be able to get that done hopefully in your next couple of days. If you finish it, because during testing, you won't be able to work on your device and stuff, but you can have this with you, so that's why I11, we're assigning that today. So when we take a look at H11 today, or H11, excuse me, and we look at this original one in black, it says, what transformation happened to get to our graph to get to this final picture? So to get from the black to the red, raise your hand, what do you see happening from the black to the red, Connor? Okay, so number 1, you're going to tell me in your notes, we are going to reflect over the y-axis. Once I do that and I look at where point E is, and I just might look at that, that's kind of located, E prime was located at -1, 4. And now I look at where this E prime is. And if I was looking at where E double prime is, Ben, where would you say that that's located? So negative, not quite -2, right? But I do agree with the 6. So -1.5 and 6. So if we were talking about a size change, what am I taking these numbers times the 4 and the 1, what am I multiplying by to get 1.5 and 6, Ben? And it is going to be just a positive 1.5, right? So check on your calculator. 4 times 1.5. 4 times 1 gives us 4, plus half of 4 is going to be 2, and that does come out to be 6. So our second thing you would tell me as you were looking at this, so the first thing is to reflect. The second, write this down on your paper, please. The second is that we are going to have a size change. And how have our size changes usually been written? We take our x, y, and do what? How would I write that? Once we know the size, the scale factor. 1.5x, comma, 1.5y. Okay? So that second thing was that we had a size change, right? Do you have nothing to write with? Okay, you want to put that down. So size change, and a lot of times instead of size change, I like some of you had on your paper, I saw a dilation, right? So we had a dilation that we were taking a look at. Okay? And that shows us what our dilation is. Turn to the next page. So today's quiz, or that bottom part, today's quiz looks a lot like this. It's going to give you, notice here, you start and it says, first thing we're going to rotate 90 counterclockwise. Then you're going to reflect, second thing. And then the third thing is a size change. If we are just looking at those three things happening before we plot any of it. Is it going to be congruent or similar? What do we know, Grace?
It's going to be similar.
It is going to be similar. And our reason that it is going to be similar, Layla, is because what? Why not congruent? Why similar? Because what? Braden?
Is it kind of like when you dial it, it's bigger?
Yes. Because in this case, and this case isn't getting bigger because of the dilation of what? 0.5 is going to make it smaller. Right? Now, if it would have been anything larger than 1, we would have had a dilation, would have got bigger. So it says compare and contrast the orientation. We're rotating, we're reflecting, and size change. Which one changes the orientation of those three? Do any of them change the orientation? Meaning we're going from A to B to C, which means it is counterclockwise, right, if we're thinking about this. So A was really originally located down at 2 and what point? 2, -4, right? So let's write our points down. B and C. So we'll think about that orientation as we do this. So saying B was located at what point?
0, 2, or 2, 0.
2, 0. Big difference, right? 0, 2 is up here, okay? So we're looking at 2, 0. And Sage, if I'm looking at point C, that should be located where?
1, -1.
Okay? So our first thing was 90-degree counterclockwise. So today on your quiz, you will not have your flashcard. So if I'm going counterclockwise, I'm going to put right above this. Which way should my arrow be pointing? To the first one, to the second one, if I'm going 90 counterclockwise? Daniel. So on this side, counterclockwise, okay? And this is then telling us to put -y, comma, x, right? So if we are looking at that, let's put our new A prime. So if we are looking, we might write up above this x, y, changes to, we just said -y, x by putting that arrow. What are you going to have for the new point, Daniel?
4, 2.
4, 2. So if we are thinking about that point, we're going over 4 and up 2. This is going to give us our new A prime. Okay? Carmen, if I'm looking at B prime. 0, 2. So this one is on that y-axis, which makes sense if we are looking at that. Here is our B prime. This was vertical, it's now horizontal. Ava, if I'm looking at C prime, it should be located at 1, 1. So today when you take your quiz, this is going to be the first thing. So I'm going to be looking at as I look at these. And this is BRC prime. We have just done step 1. I'm going to do step 2. I'm going to change the color for you, so as we're looking at that, mine's going to be in blue up here. It says now to reflect this over the y-axis. So, Carmen, not Carmen, let's go with, yeah, Carmen will go you first. A double prime. Over the y-axis. So, negative. So think of where this one is. And even if you weren't going to list the point, where would you put for reflecting it over this y-axis? How could I graph it? So I'm reflecting it over my y-axis, right? So where is A prime going to be? Double prime? Okay, I'm using this point that was at 4, 2. Where's the new one going to be? I'm going up to here. Which one changes if we're reflecting over the y-axis? The x changes. So from 4, 2, it's going to become -4, 2. Okay, I just didn't hear this. Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4. Got my A double prime. It's really nice about B double prime, right? I don't have to list it, right? B double prime is going to be right on that axis. And I might not even need to list C double prime because I can just reflect that over and I notice that those 2 points. So as I'm looking at those, I now want to do my last thing, which tells me a size change. Now at this point, it might be really helpful to make sure I have those points. And I have some people telling me, oh, I can't do it if I don't have, when I have a decimal or a fraction. Yes, you can. And always all work out. If we are looking at this, C is going to be the only one that when we look at that, if we are looking at our C triple prime, that's going to be the only one that's actually going to be at 1/2, 1/2, right? It's going to be -1/2, +1/2. So if I'm looking at that point, that's going to be -1/2, +1/2. That's where that's going to be. Where is my B prime going to be? It was 0, 2. It's now going to be at 0, 1, right? B triple prime. Where is my A triple prime going to be? That's going to be at -2, 1. It should be smaller if we are looking at this. And if you have a highlighter or when you have your answer today, and this is what we are looking at, my suggestion might be that you want to actually highlight where that answer is so that you kind of want to take your highlighter if you have one, or so that we can see this is your final answer. I find that also when you're doing your homework and you're checking these, whatever the final one is to kind of outline that, because that's the one that you're looking for at the end. That's the one that we want our final answer to be. So however you're doing that one so that you can really see, oh, this is what my answer should look like when I finish that as you're doing your homework. So the other ones, in this one, if we want to do this last one, it says compare and contrast the orientation. What could we say about our orientation, Chloe, from the original one? So I went A, B, C here to A, B, this one on the green, going around. Switches, yeah. This one is going to switch orientation. And the reason it switches, if we were going to give a reason for it, is because we did one reflection. Anytime you do a reflection, anytime you have one reflection, it switches our orientation. So we're looking at that. So, I think instead of doing these next two, what I want you to just take a look at is I want you to just try and answer the question, congruent or similar, and answer the orientation. I don't want you to actually do it. So for the next two, on the top of the next page of your notes, I want you simply to look at what it's telling us, to dilate, rotate 180, and then translate. Will it be congruent or similar? And check with your shoulder partner. Will the orientation stay the same or will it change? Check with your shoulder partner. I do not need you to actually do it, okay? So just do. What'd you guys figure out, Ellie? First one, congruent or similar?
Similar.
Similar. So if we're looking at that first one and your reason for saying similar, Sophie, would be what?
Because we're dilating it, so the size is changing.
Dilation, 2.5. It's bigger, right? If we were going to talk about the orientation, what'd you guys say as you were talking about it, Adam?
I don't know. We didn't talk.
I know you didn't. I need you to talk right now. Orientation, we did a dilation, 180, and a translate. What do we know about its orientation? When's the only time it changes?
We dilated? I don't know.
What do you think, Thing?
They do
Or
it.
that Thing? What?
The only time it changes like position is when you flip it 180 degrees.
Braden, you agree?
Yeah.
You do?
No.
Zach?
Yes.
No. I don't agree.
Yeah.
Grace?
It's when, it only changes when you reflect it once.
Thank you. You guys hear that?
Yeah.
Adam, when does it change orientation? When you reflect it one, not flip it when we reflect. So compare the orientation. It should be the same orientation, right? Same orientation. And our reason for putting the same orientation is there was no reflections. Okay? Reflections are what changes it. Okay? That next one down, it said you were supposed to translate using this rule, which meant You were going up 4, then rotate it 90 clockwise, and then dilate. If you were looking at that, thing, what you and your partner, congruent or similar?
Dissimilar.
Similar. Our reason would be because, again, we had a dilation. So now we are looking, Leila and Kayla, what do you have? Orientation, same or changing? What do we have? Okay, what did Grace just say is the only time we change orientation? Okay, do you have a reflection? No, so what would you say about the orientation? It is the same. No reflections, right? Okay. Now, I know that the next few days you are going to be working on this H11A, okay? So as you are working on that, I know it is long, and you're doing lots of these, but it worked out perfect for us because you got safe testing. And so you will take your workbook with you, and when you're done with state testing and you have to have a book to read or something to do and you can't be on your device, you can be working on this, and this 11A will be due on Thursday. Yes?
I told us that we have our homework.
Yeah, it has to be
We have to
built.
read.